Okay, Marie, we're live.
Okay, thank you, Brandy. Good morning, everybody. This is Marie with 2evcreative.org with your fabulous Saturday craft hour. This week, we're going to be making these really awesome collage marionettes with collage tissue paper. They kind of have like their little wiggle legs. So it's a very fun project that it's fun to make at home and then maybe video chat a whole production with your friends with all your little marionette animals. So just to go over some of the materials that you'll be needing for today, we've got, so these are toilet paper rolls right here. On the neck, we've got some of these, what we call them pony beads. And then this is a cut straw. Another toilet paper roll for the body, and we're going to cover that in tissue paper. So you're going to need glue to glue that down. And then some string. I used like a jute string, kind of like twiny thing, but you can use whatever you have at home. And some more kind of pony beads and a heavier bead for at the bottom. We're going to paint some wood beads to kind of weigh the legs down so they wiggle when you move the marionette around. And then lastly, you're going to need some popsicle sticks for at the top to connect your marionette to, so you can hold it up and it can walk around. All right. So if it's your first time joining us, this craft hour is hosted by Deuxieme Vie. We're a creative reuse center, an environmental nonprofit located in Lafayette, Louisiana. If you want to check us out, our website is 2evcreative.org. And when you've made your marionette, make sure to tag us with the hashtag make art not waste on Facebook or Instagram, and tag us at 2evcreative without the org at Facebook and Instagram, so we can see what you made. We love to see what you make, because creating is so much fun. So I'm going to start with, I always start with the items we have to paint so they have time to dry. So I'm going to start with the beads that go here at the bottom. I have some wood beads, and we're just going to splash a little paint on them so they're colorful and fun, just like the rest of our marionette. You can use heavy beads if you want to paint them or not. So we're going to just paint these real quick so they can dry. And if you want to skip that step, you can start to cut your tissue papers into small squares. So you have different colored tissue paper to put onto your marionette. It's usually helpful if you can open the tube of paint when you need to open it. So we've been doing these creative craft hours for at least a month or two now, and we have a whole library of them on our in our Instagram stories, on our Facebook page. You can access them on our website. And you can also find us on YouTube. You can look back in some of the ones that we've had before. If you want to get inspired to do some at-home crafts, or and I just kind of slap it on there and make it look fun. It doesn't have to be any kind of perfect. So we're just kind of putting some colors down. I just like to make sure the whole bead's covered is the only thing I do with that. So we have lots of previous videos, and then we're in the process of making some longer process and instructional videos to go with some kits that we sell online as well. So those are coming soon. Keep an eye out for those. Those are going to be really fun, kind of similar to these creative hours, but some more, I wouldn't say intense creating, but maybe some more in-depth creating. We got some beaders, some weavers, some art journals, kind of fun stuff like that coming up. So that's something fun to keep your eye out for. But until then, you can go to our website at 2EV Creative and check out some of the other kits we have available. Check out the materials we have available. And you can even buy materials online and pick them up curbside if you'd like. So I'm putting a little bit of yellow on there. You can pick any colors you want your beads to be. I think blue and yellow is fun. And then whenever they start to mix together, you start getting a little bit of green. So that's color theory too. And these beads will be the kind of hooves of your marionette animal. I make some a little more globby than others. And also, it's helpful to remember that the thicker you paint, the longer it takes to dry. So if you put a thin coat of paint on your bead, it'll take a little less time to dry than if you put a big old thick coat. Okay, so these are kind of, got 4 painted for all my feet. I just saw a spot I missed, so I'm gonna just clean that one up. Okay. Oh, I guess that's the spot I was holding them at. So if you're painting, remember that under your finger where you're painting, there won't be any paint. So you gotta hold it a different way and paint that. Paint that part. Okay, so while those are drying, I think that's all the painting we really have to do. So you can put your paints away, put your paintbrush away. Put this old tank top, I wipe all my paintbrushes off away. Okay. So next thing we're going to work on is the body of the marionette, because we have to glue on the body, and that's going to take a little bit of time to dry as well. So we're going to work on that next. So you'll need 2 toilet paper tubes. So one's going to be the body, and then we're going to use half of one as the head of the animal. I think it's a pony, but it could really be any animal that you want. Unicorn, zebra, mutant iron horse, I don't know, whatever you'd like. So if you're making 2, you can use 1 tube for 2 heads, but since we're just doing 1, I'm gonna put this off to the side. Okay, so I have some pieces that I've previously cut, kind of like this, but I'm gonna just show you just a yellow piece of tissue paper. And there's no right way to do this, so I usually just cut it into smaller pieces so I don't have to make as many cuts when I'm cutting them apart. So I kind of cut it into strips and layer it. So you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7-ish layers. And so you can do different like strips if you want, and then one cut will give you a bunch of strips. So it kind of saves you some time. It's one of my tricks. And then if you see on this guy, I kind of pasted some of those strips down to give them kind of like, I don't know, like a maney back or like a furry back. You can kind of spike it up. I thought that was kind of a cool effect. So you can see how that looks. So you can do strips like the yellow if you want, some strips. Do some larger pieces. Again, they're gonna be multiples because you have them layered on top of each other. So that's how you do that. And so we're gonna use our glue. I use it straight out of the container because it has the nozzle, but if you want to put some in, like if you're sharing, you can put some in some cups or some plates or on some paper, and you can use a brush. I just go straight out the nozzle. Okay, so we're gonna just put it down on there. And you're just putting tissue paper on it wherever you would like. You can put a lot, you can put a little bit. It's your creation. You get to make it however you want. And if you don't have tissue paper, you can always use like collage paper. It's really just about having some fun material to kind of cover the toilet paper tube with. You could even use markers if you want to use markers, if you're, you know, in a pinch. And I kind of like to not, some people like to completely paste them down. I kind of like to leave the edges up. So it kind of gives some texture to what you're doing, but it's your creation and you can make it however you want to make it. I also like to layer pieces on top of each other because I have the toilet paper rolls with the writing. Shout out to home delivery toilet paper with writing on the rolls. So I put a little bit more. Some people put more or less. It's just up to what you want to do. This is a great way to use all that tissue paper from the holidays that you don't know what to do with, or I know our family has a whole box of just wrapping supplies that lives in a closet. It's immense. So this is a fun way to use some of those things in a creative way. So I got some green on there. How about one more? This green has sparkles in it, so I'm super excited about it. Okay, so I've got some of that covered, and I'm gonna do the kind of maney yellow stuff again. So just putting that on the edge, and then I just start laying top pieces down, and I just leave the end kind of fluttering. I can't wait to see what all of you make. Make sure to tag us at 2EV Creative at on Facebook and Instagram, so we can see what kind of animal or what kind of creature you made. You could maybe even change it into a fish if you wanted. Instead of legs, you could give it fins, or this is a great craft to use as a base to make many creations. You could do make a whole production based off of this one type of animal. And remember, it's only crafting, so have fun with it. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the body. And then I'm going to do the head. So that's your little half roll. And I kind of just work with a side at a time. And I'll put it on there and kind of smear it down. Put the tissue paper on the glue and then just smear it over. Kind of helps move the glue around so it's not so clumpy. Okay. And then I even like to play with putting some on top of others. I've even got this darker pink that sometimes I'll use. So when you start to put tissue paper on top of each other, you start to change the opacity of the paper. So certain pieces will be darker than other pieces. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. But you can make yours as much or as little as you'd like. So I'm going to put these on the side to dry. I have some that I made yesterday that have dried all the way that are a little bit easier to put holes in. But I did make one yesterday for the example that I put the holes in when it was wet. So it is possible to do that. You just have to be a little bit more careful about what you're doing, a little more deliberate. But it's possible to do. And I did notice that when making holes in the toilet paper tubes, it's helpful if you have like a push pin to kind of start the hole for you before trying to like put scissors or something to make a hole. Sometimes if you use a push pin because it's really sharp, it kind of starts the hole for you and makes it easier to put your holes in. So I have a push pin in camouflaged in my pony beads. There is a push pin. So let's see. Look at our example here. So we have a hole coming in the top, a hole coming out the bottom. It goes through right here, and then it goes down through the neck and into the body. I don't know if you can see that from way up at the top. So it goes in the top, goes through the head, down the neck, and then ties at the bottom of the body. So that's all one piece of string. And then that string's going to go up to your popsicle sticks. So first we can decide where we want the front of the head to be. That looks fine. And then I even noticed that it might be a good idea to put a hole a little bit farther up on the top than you do on the bottom, because that'll make it like when it comes through straight, actually maybe farther up on the bottom. But it's not super important. Nitpicking at this point. So I put the push pin in, and then if you're get a parent to help you do this part, because this can be dangerous, and if you put scissors in there you might cut your finger. So if you guys are working on this at home and you're under the age of 20, please ask your parents to help you. So you're just working the scissors in a little bit into that pinhole you had, and then you make a bigger hole that you can put your string through. I use scissors. Some people, you can use a pencil too. You can use a pencil to make that hole as well. I'll show you on the next one. Might be a little safer for some of you guys. So you have a hole at the bottom and a hole in the top, and your string's going to go through there for the head. And then, so we're going to decide what part do we want to be the top of the body. I want it to be this yellow part. So I'm gonna put a hole for this top piece of the string that comes through the top to connect the head. Make a hole I want right here. My thumbtack. And then let's try it with a pencil and see if that works. So yeah, that's much easier. Okay, guys, so you see you still get the same effects. So using a pencil is a much easier way to do that. I actually prefer that to the scissors. This is why we craft, so we can figure out how we want to do it. It's called practice. Okay, and then so for the feet, I'm getting ahead of myself. For the feet, it's just so you can see, it's one continuous string. It's like a rainbow piece almost that goes through two holes in the front and in the back. They're the same. So you're going to make two holes. So the string's going up through and coming back down. So you're just making two holes on the bottom, kind of on either side of, so the top hole's right here. So you kind of want them on either side of the tube. Yes, that pencil is much more effective. Use a pencil. It is the best way to do that. Just a little push pin and a pencil is all you need to make holes in toilet paper tubes. So we want our legs to be, I would like my legs to be close to symmetrical. So I'm going to measure the back ones off of these two front holes. Of these two front holes, it looks like a vampire bit my toilet paper roll. And so I'm just going to come down and put one right here. And then follow this one down and put one right here. And use my pencil again to make those holes bigger, because the string I have, this jute, it's a little bit thick. So if you're using like thread or something, you could probably get it through those tiny holes with a needle, but I have thicker string, so I need some bigger holes for my legs. Okay. And then the last place we have to make a hole is kind of where the tail would go. So you're going to have, you have the head coming on the top part, but then the tail is also connected to the top of the marionette. So we have to make that hole as well, so your puppet can really dance. And I'm just gonna, that's the original front hole, and I'm just gonna follow that and make one on the back side as well. And I'm just giving you a guide of what you can do, but you can, of course, make your marionette any way you like. Okay. So the next part I did was attaching the head to the body was the next step I did. And let's see, so this part is also going through the head to the top of the marionette. So you need a little extra string because it's going to go all the way up to the top. Some of these, like this one's kind of frayed at the end. I use a piece of tape. I wrap a piece of tape around it to make it like stiff and easier to go through the holes. So just take the tape and wrap it. Didn't have to be a big piece. You almost just roll it on itself to kind of make a pointy bit at the end. That kind of, yeah, like a unicorn horn. Okay, so if we, I'm going to start in the front and go up through the bottom hole, and then see we have a pony bead the neck, which is a straw, and then another pony bead, and then go through the head. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those things on here as we're going. I got some pony beads. Do two pink ones. Put one on there. And then I have this like gold straw, and I think this guy has a really long neck, which is fine, but I'd like to make it maybe a little shorter this time. So like that, but you can eyeball whatever you like. It always kind of reminds me of those collars that like Queen Elizabeth wore that would hold the big collar that would kind of keep your neck upright. This is to keep the marionette's head up. Okay, which way we're gonna go? So we're gonna go through the bottom hole of the head and then up through the top hole of the head. You see how they're starting to look like your animal, and then now you have to decide how long you want your string to be from your animal to the marionette. So I mean, I guess like the size of a ruler spine, something like that. It's really up to you. And then I'll show you how to tape that to the marionette, but first I'm gonna cut the bottom and just tie a knot in the bottom so that this is secure to the bottom of the body. Just cut that. I tie it in 2 knots so the knot's real thick and it won't go through the holes that we made. And if you're watching this on not the day that we originally filmed it, if you want to do this project and you find you don't have pony beads, or you don't have tissue paper, or you don't have fun, crazy straws, you can always come visit us at Deuxieme Vie, or shoot us an email, or shoot us a phone call, and we can help you get the materials you need to make this. Popsicle sticks, that's probably the one thing I really had to get. Popsicle sticks and pony beads and jute, the things I had to get from the store to kind of finish this out. I just use tape because you're just going to tape your popsicle sticks in like a cross. So I just tape them. Sometimes I cut one side in to make it kind of a ooh. I also like to mention that Deuxieme Vie is a nonprofit. So our mission is to foster creativity and creative reuse in the community. And we aren't able to do that without the help of awesome people from our community like you, awesome creatives. We're supported by volunteers, and we are heavily dependent on donations. So if you really like these craft classes and you'd like to see more of them, please feel free to go to our website at 2evcreative.org and go to the donate page on our website and donate to us. Any amount would be greatly appreciated, and it helps to continue program like this and helps us to get artists in to do future workshop videos, so amongst other things. Okay, so now we're going to just connect this to one side of your popsicle stick. I just tape it down. You can do it however you want. I think tape's probably the easiest and least messy way to do it. So I just lay it on the top like so, like that. And then just put a piece of tape on top. There you go. Got the top piece going. Okay. And then you're going to attach the other piece on the same color popsicle stick. So use orange for both sides. Okay, so you can get, see if these beads are pretty dry. And that's why you paint the beads first. Okay, so those beads are dry, that's good. So we can go ahead and do the legs now. So I like the legs I had before, so I'm kind of I'd say a finger, but you know, my 30-year-old fingers are probably much larger than yours. So say a couple of inches on each leg and a piece in the middle. So just make like a rainbow shape, kind of like that. And you are going to have to tie knots at the bottom. So I give myself a little bit extra. I'm going to tape one end again. And if you are really aware of how your legs work, you can probably just tape one side. Or you can tape both and do it that way too. I'm going to try and just do it on one side. So if this is all connected, I'm going to knot the bottom. And I'm going to fill in one leg and then put the string through the body and then fill the other leg all with the same, all on the same side. The holes on those beads look pretty big, so let's make it 3 knots just in case. Okay, so pick a bead, a big bead, one of your wooden beads or heavy beads, put it at the bottom where this leg would go, and then I have 3, 6, 7 beads on one side. Whatever amount of beads you do, just do the same for both legs so they're all even. And then I'll just start putting my beads on for that leg. I need to see my full selection available. 2, 3. Sometimes my pony beads have other beads in them. Three. 5. Okay, so I have one leg with the bead done. So we're going to go in through one hole and out the other one. Okay. And then you're going to make this leg opposite of the last one. So you're going to put all your beads on first and then put on your big bead. Okay, 7, same on both sides. And then I like to make sure there's a little extra room so there's some wiggle room for the beads when you're moving your legs around. Cut the tape part off. Or you can pull the tape off. I just didn't want to try and do that, so I just cut the tape off the part of the string it was on. Well, it's 2 knots. Nope, you need the full 3 knots. Gonna be close. Okay, well, it needs to be 3 on both, but I've made this short. So if we have time, I'll go back and do it again. But for now, it shall be 2 knots. Okay, so I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I'm gonna cut a longer piece than I need. Put some tape on the end. And knot our opposite end 3 times. Big bead on. 1, 2. 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to go in through one hole and out through the other one. And I like to kind of switch up between darker and lighter. All kind of depends on what you got available. 7 as well. And since I made sure I had extra string this time, go ahead and put this one on. Big old blue, yellow, green foot. So these are really easy and fun to make, and you can make them with a whole group of people, or you can make a whole group of marionettes. Make them different colors, make them different characters. You could put on a whole puppet show just with your marionettes you've made. Okay. So do the knots and then cut it. Cut the string is probably a better way to do that. So we're getting there. And then their legs are a little wonky. So they're all connected, so you can kind of even them out. And then the last piece is to get a piece of jute that's going to run from the tail up to the popsicle sticks. So for that, you just want to get a piece that's even, or if you want to, however you want your marionette to be resting, cut that length. So if you want, some people like them shorter on one side, completely up to you. It's your creation. So I'll put it through the hole and I'll bring it out on the side where I can get to it easily. Okay. And then we're just going to eyeball it to see how close it is. Oh. And then I kind of hold up the animal, hold up your marionette, and really have the strings it's hanging from be taut. So you can see exactly how it's gonna hang. Some people like it a little bit higher in the front, or if you want the back higher, you can kind of adjust that so when it's resting, it looks a certain way. And that's all up to you. Okay. And then tape it down. And if you have any other embellishments you want to put on it, you're more than welcome to do that. The ones we're making today are just collage marionettes, so you can use this as a base and continue building from there, or just leave it how it is. Both are great options. And we love to see what your creations look like. This is my guy. Running. And so make sure and tag us at 2EV Creative on Facebook and Instagram with the creations you made. Right here. 2E, the letter E, vcreative.org, which is a short way of saying deuxième, because deuxième means second in French. So that's like when you draw the 2 with the ND that says second, 2E is the French equivalent of that. So 2EV, and V means life, so it's secondlifecreative.org, or 2EV Creative at Facebook and Instagram. And tag us, Make Art Not Waste, and show us what you made. We'd love to see what you came up with. And remember to have fun, and we'll see you next week. Bye.